So you want to be holding in this week's Torah portion? Of course you do. Here are your Shpark notes. Parashat Vayeshev, Part 2. Yes, you heard that correctly. There are 2 parts to the parasha this week because there's just so much to cover. So if you've not watched Part 1 yet, go and do that. But this can also work as a standalone video as well. In our last video, we talked about Joseph, the youngest son of Yisrael, and why his story is good fodder for musical theater. In this video, we're going to talk about the story of Judah and Tamar and why their story isn't. Yeah, this one never made the Andrew Lloyd Weber canon, and honestly, thank God. Because what happens in our parasha this week is that the Torah takes a little detour from the story of Joseph, which is getting a little too heavy, and gives us a nice, lighthearted, refreshing story about sexual deception and the merits thereof. Let's dive in. So Judah is one of Joseph's brothers. Remember the guys who threw him in a pit and then sold him into slavery and pretended to kill him? He's one of those brothers, and he gets his own spin-off. Judah needs a little space from all the family service that's going on, from the murdered favorite child and all of the anguish that's coming from there, so he goes and shepherds in a different area of Canaan. There he meets the daughter of a man named Shua, and he is smitten with her, and so he marries her, and they have 3 sons, Onan, and Shelah. As the boys grow older, Judah marries his firstborn son, off to a woman named Tamar. But is not so good at being a human being. And so Hashem considers his life, wait for it, an heir. And so he does away with heir. But the laws of Yibum, which I am most certainly not going to get into in this video, requires that the next son marries his dead brother's widow so that the family name can continue. And so Onan, the second brother, marries Tamar. But he's a little bit of a sneaky fellow, and he knows that any progeny that comes from this marriage will actually be in the name of his brother, And because he knows that these children will not technically be his children, he dispenses with his marital duties outside of the prescribed location, if you know what I mean. If Hashem thought was bad, oh boy. And because he is sneaky and wicked, Onan too is off to the 3rd son. But there's a problem. Shelah is the youngest, and he's still too young to marry. And so Judah says to Tamar, come move in with me and remain as a widow until Shelah is old enough to be married. Tamar agrees, but she agrees reluctantly because she's not so interested in waiting to start her family. But serendipitously, right at this time, Judah's wife, who's never actually given a name in the Torah, God bless, passes away. And Tamar makes a plan. She dresses herself in different clothes and puts on a veil and presents herself to her father-in-law after his period of mourning is over. Thinking this woman is an anonymous prostitute, Judah offers to lie with her. Tamar agrees and says, yes, but you have to leave with me the following things: your seal, your cord, and your staff, which are all identifying objects, which will be important in the story in a little bit. Judah agrees and then lies with her, again, not knowing that this is his daughter-in-law, not knowing that this is Tamar. Lo and behold, Tamar becomes pregnant. And after a few months, some whispering starts to go on. Some of the town folk, about 3 months later, pull Judah aside and say, listen, your daughter-in-law Tamar has been playing the harlot. Look, she's pregnant. And Judah says, what? That's absurd. She should be burned. Don't point out the hypocrisy here. And so Tamar comes forward, and then she says, yes, I am pregnant. And then in a moment that is perfect for reality television, she says, I'm pregnant by the owner of these belongings, and then holds up Judah's things. And everyone sees that these belongings are those of Judah. And would you believe it, he has a complete change of heart and a completely different opinion on the matter now. Judah says, you know what? This is kind of on me, because I gave Tamar my youngest son and she wasn't willing to wait. So, you know what? My bad. Tamar gives birth to twins, and they decide that one of them should probably be a Kabbalist who lives in Sfat, so they put a little red bracelet on one of them, and then the other one comes out first. It's a whole thing. But the twins are born. They're named Peretz and Zerach. And now that everyone's happy and refreshed with this little lighthearted story, the Torah returns to the story of Yosef. And that, my friends, is the wacky happenings of Parashat Vayeshev. The rest is commentary. Go and learn.